Hello, YouTube. I'm Vince White. I'm an employment attorney, and real quick, we're gonna have a very quick conversation about evidence. Somebody recently said to me, "Hey, the only viable proof of time theft is video camera footage." No, that is not. And I want to stress, the person who said that to me is a more intelligent person than I am, objectively. They just don't happen to do this thing that I do for a living, right? So that was their impression of the way the world worked, is that to prove time theft, you needed to have video camera footage, right? I would actually argue, I've even seen cases where people did have video camera footage of a client of mine sleeping very clearly on camera, and I made the argument, hey man, eyes closed doesn't mean they're asleep, and won. I don't feel great about that, but I'm just kind of stressing that, like, video camera footage is neither required nor is it perfect in terms of like evidence in general. So I digress. Person said to me, "Hey, the only way to prove time theft is video camera footage." And I said, "Well, that's not true. There's a million and one ways to prove that. In the same way, there's a million and one ways to prove anything, right? Like, listen, I'll just make a list of things that I can think of right now. If I wanted to prove somebody's committing time theft, I would probably pull their receipts. If they're using their credit card in the vending machine in the break room or their cafeteria. I'd look for their card swipes around the facility. Let's see, I'd ask their coworkers. I would check the sensor logs on any work vehicles they might be operating. I would check their key count, their actions per minute on their keyboard, potentially, right? Like, and this is just me sitting here for, I think, like 20 seconds, thinking up ways that I would go about proving that if I had to, right? There is an endless array. The limiting factor on how you would prove a given thing, and we're just talking about time theft here purely because it's like an example and it came up in a conversation, right? But like, if anything you want to prove, the limiting factor in how to prove that is the human imagination, right? Like, you can triangulate the gravity well of a human being using orbital dynamics and trigonometry, right? Like, figure out where they are. Can you really do that? I don't know. I'm not a scientist. Look at me. Look at me. I can't even light myself correctly. I'm just saying the limiting factor in proving things is the human imagination. And whenever you're coming to the question of can something be proven, I don't care which side you're on. If you're trying to prove it, you need to tell yourself, listen, I got to keep thinking of ways to prove this until I come up with something that's going to work, right? And if you're on the other side and you're like, oh boy, how am I going to keep this from proving it? You need to think up all the ways they might go about trying to prove it, because they're going to come up with something, potentially, if they're not lazy, and it's going to blindside you, and you're never going to have seen that coming. You're not going to have a response for it. So my point is, how many ways is it to prove something? How long you want to think about it? Like and subscribe. Helps me to help more people just like you.